Okay, here we go with clip number 3. Just a couple of things to point out on these short clips here. So let's watch this first point here with Karen coming in. Okay, so why are we looking at this? Just for a very good reason. So number one, if we look at Karen when you're returning serve and she's already up a few steps in front of the baseline, now you have a decision to make. Am I going to hit and follow in, hit and stay, or hit and back up? Here, what Karen does is she hits which she thinks is, man, maybe I've hit this ball kind of low, so I'm going to come in there, which is a good thing to do to put pressure on your opponents. What Amy does, Amy sees she's coming in. I don't have to hit a passing shot. What I am going to do is put the ball at her feet. Okay, now this is the main point, that as a volleyer, when you're coming in there and you are dealing with that kind of volley, now you have a decision to make. What do I do with this volley? And for the most part, you're going to keep that ball away from the person that's in front of you. The person further away is Amy, who's coming in there. But Amy, if you look at her, she's only up around the service line, and Karen is dealing with this difficult volley. And what happens with Karen is she misdirects this volley to the last place you would want to go to, and that's to the net person who can take that high ball and know exactly to go right through the center. And there really wasn't much you can do on this. The only thing I would suggest, for example, from Karen Q's position is, so here's Karen here, is to just move a little bit more into the center. You've heard me say a few times, if you're going to get beat, don't give people a clear path through the center. Put yourself in a position where you can get your racket on it, because you never know what can happen when you can get your racket on it. But you can see that ball's just a little bit out of her reach. Who knows if it would have made much difference, as hard as Laura can crack that volley. But even still, at least you can get your racket on the ball, and sometimes we can get lucky with that. Okay? So main point on this is when you're coming in as the volleyer, if the ball's below the net, volley cross court. If you get a ball above the net, like we saw in the first clip with Amy, when the ball's above the net, attack the net person in front of you. And with that general rule of thumb, it's going to work out for you pretty good. So let's move on forward here to one more short point, and let's see what happens. Okay, so you may look at this and just say there's not much going on here, but what I'd like you to notice, I'm going to show this one more time in real time, and what I would like you to do is to really look at Laura's movement at the net here. Here we go. Here it is. That's wonderful. Okay. We pretty much all know why you move around up there is to, make sure that the return server is aware of you, but also by moving around up at the net keeps you very awake. All right, this is the little things make a difference. I just picked up on something. I'd like you to look at Karen C's feet here. As the serve goes in, remember one of your responsibilities is to guard the middle of the court. And we have an aggressive net person at the net. So if we look at Karen C's feet, you see how she's kind of stepping up, forward, and actually away from the center, and has opened up the middle even more so than when the point started. And my tip basically is, when you have someone that's pretty aggressive at the net, is to hunker down here in the center until you see that return has gotten by that person, because Laura gets her fair share of balls at the net, and we know what she can do with it. And right now, she used her famous two-handed volley here. Doesn't really matter. There you go. That's what she needed to do. But the thing is, look where the ball goes. And that's why a term that I've used several times in the past, the angle of deflection, that when a ball goes up to the net, it tends to deflect right across the center. Now the only question is somebody there to respond to that ball? And what Karen C. did there by moving up is not a bad thing. If your partner returning serve is having a very successful day returning serve and clearly gets the ball by the net person every time out, what Karen C. is doing here will work just fine and dandy. But again, you always have to consider who's at the net. Karen and Laura is pretty darn aggressive. She wants to get her share of balls. And so again, I would just stay in the center for an extended period of time until you see that ball getting by her at the net. Okay? So that's all I've got for you, everybody. That was a great job on Thursday. So let's make sure we get out on the court and play and try to apply some of this good stuff, okay? So thanks for your time. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.